What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So, this video right here is going to be pretty much going into critical race theory. Now, disclaimer, prior to me watching this video and maybe a few other videos, I don't know much about critical race theory. And then, with that being the case, I said to myself, how can this thing be going around and everyone's talking about it and have opinions on it, and I've never heard of it before? I'm hearing a lot of it now, but I've never heard of it before. So then I said to myself, well, something that doesn't smell right with that, right? And pretty much what I've come to find is critical race theory is a thing, quote unquote, but it's really not a thing, quote unquote. And I'll break that down more as this video goes on. For those of you that are out there that are like, oh, I don't really know what critical race theory is either. Look, yeah, I'm going to save it. I'm going to break it all down. Now, with that being said, as well, Ben Shapiro is a guy that I'm not too fond of. A lot of the things that he says, I really don't care for. It's just, I think when he did the not interview, maybe, I'm not even sure if you call it an interview, but when people go on Joe Rogan's show, whatever you call that, when he was on Joe Rogan's show, he said some things that actually that time that I was like, okay with, but for the most part, overall, Ben Shapiro and I are not on the same side of the coin. But I just want to get the little disclaimer out there, and then obviously this is the Bill Maher or Bill Maher show, however the hell you pronounce his freaking last name. I'm not a fan of Bill Maher either. Look, you got to watch out for the liberal Caucasians. You know what I'm saying? They're not your friend. I say it all the time. Brothers, the liberal Caucasian ain't your damn friend. The liberal black female ain't your fucking friend. Okay? They're actually your enemy. So not only is it like important to know that they're not your friend, they're your enemy. So, you have to be able to identify them. So let's go. And obviously this dude on the left, the quote unquote black dude, he's what you call a quote unquote, what they say, like Uncle Tom, a sellout. This guy, and you'll see, and I'll explain as they go on.
What matters is what is it practically? It's being taught in schools or some form of.
Yes, there's a certain sort of crystallized version of it that is a lot less complex than what critical race theory actually is. But critical race theory essentially argues that racism is baked into all the systems of American society, and that any sort of neutral system is in fact a guise for racial.
And also, for those of you who don't know, Ben Shapiro has a law degree, so he studied a lot in pursuit of law degree, in pursuit of said law degree, and obviously studied a lot afterwards. So when he breaks down the definition of critical race theory, he's breaking it down from the law perspective as he learned it.
Is, but critical race theory essentially argues that racism is baked into all the systems of American society, and that any sort of neutral system is in fact a guise for racial power. And so the argument is made by Derek Bell, for example, that Brown versus Board of Education, this is an argument he made in 1991, that Brown versus Board of Education was actually a way for the white community to leverage its own power. It wasn't an attempt to end segregation in public schools. Even things that are purportedly good in terms of race, so long as they uphold these broader systems, things like capitalism or things like the meritocracy, these things are actually just guises for power. And so what that boils down to in sort of practical terms is all disparity equals discrimination. If you can...
All right, so let me unpack a little bit of what he said. Overall, what he pretty much said is some of the things that I say on this channel. For instance, some of the things that Umar Johnson says. And I'm not saying that like Umar says it and I say that we agree. No, Umar says the wrong thing, all right, which is pretty much critical race theory as Ben is explaining it, which is everything is racist. Now look, you guys know I don't go by the word racism, because obviously race is not a real thing. It's made up. It doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of human history and culture. Okay, race is a color, and it technically is a color, like black is a race, and also the shit. But black, it can't be a race because black is a color, and colors shouldn't be a race. Your lineage isn't a color. That's how you're supposed to navigate through history and historical lines, not based off color designations granted by corporations. So, but for the sake of easily communicating with all of you, I'll say race. So Umar will have you believe, and I know Umar's not in this video, but I know that he says a lot of that. Umar will have you believe, and others obviously, that racism is everywhere, and the only way to get rid of racism is we have to break down everything that we know. Now, what that is pretty much like how you say, Thelema, I believe, and it's order through chaos, and it's Luciferian, is what I'm saying. That's where all this is going. It's all leading back to the same fucking place. It's Luciferian, and through the guise of socialism and communism, which is, there's a problem, so we have to, naturally we have to break it down and then create it because it was built for someone else. Now, don't get me wrong. Was America built, quote unquote, by quote unquote whites? Yes. Some would say, many would say, for quote unquote whites? Yes, right? But at the end of the day, and I've done a video on this months ago, and I believe the video is titled, "Is Capitalism Racist?" or something like that. And I go into it because a lot of these pro-blackity blacks and super liberals will try to have you believe that capitalism is racist. But if you look around, you'll see that it's not. Capitalism inherently is not racist. Think of capitalism as a game. As long as you play the game, you'll succeed. But if you want to be, on the fringe, then you're not. If you want to make excuses, then you won't succeed. It's that simple. So are there issues where people can say, there's favoritism based off of race? Yes, obviously. But think about it. Have you ever heard of nepotism? Nepotism exists, right? For instance, if I owned a large company, you mean to tell me that you don't think that there's going to be some nepotism involved in that company as far as it goes with my family line? Of course there's going to be nepotism. Now, is it going to be overtly and blatant? I'm not quite sure if I take it that far, but you're damn sure there's going to be nepotism. Think about it. Donald Trump Jr., nepotism, you know what I mean? Like, you think he's the only person that could be running these companies? Oh, no, but that's his son. Okay, I get it. Jared Kushner gets great roles within the companies as well. You don't think that's nepotism? Yeah, same thing. So the same issues that you would have with quote unquote racism, you should have with nepotism, right? But what it is inclusion for the most part. People include people that look like them and have the same culture as them and the same values as them. Those are the people that they're going to naturally gravitate towards and want to be around and want to have around. So it's really not that foreign of a thought to say, what? You don't want people that are completely opposite to you and your daily comings and goings around you? No, I don't. So we have to stop acting like, everything is so like, woe is me. And all that is, again, is that victimization that is getting pimped on our goddamn people to the point where we don't even know that we're victims anymore. We don't even know. We can't even see it. But it's the telltale signs. They're there. So let me keep playing this video because there's more.
See any stat where black people are underperforming white people, this means the system was set up for the benefit of white people and that white people have a duty to tear down these systems in order to alleviate the racism that's implicit in those systems. When it comes to schools, what this tends to boil down to is kids who are white have experienced privilege because the system was built for white people and we have to change the standards.
Right. Now, okay, well, so Malcolm, you tell me your definition.
Oh, I agree with everything he just said.
Oh, great.
And I appreciate you being honest in defining of what it's like to be Black American, right? That is,
Interesting. He says that. In defining what it's like to be a Black American. I'm pretty sure what Ben just did was outline what critical race theory is. So I'm not sure how you can turn around and say, thank you for defining or for accurately defining what it is to be a Black American. I don't think you could just define a quote-unquote Black American that easily. But that's the issue when you allow yourself to be described as such. If you want to be Black, then you know what? Hey, then you're cool with people like this guy doing what he just did and putting you in a small-ass box saying, yep, that's Tyrone. Everything you just said, Ben, that's Tyrone. That's Tyrone's life. Yep, that ain't fucking true. Not at all. Not at all. I know it ain't for me. I know it ain't for anybody that I fucking know and fucks with. So, but that is what the fuck you. Excuse my language, but this is really, really one of my grinds my gears pet peeves. Like this is an issue that we got to get rid of. We got to get rid of this black shit ASAP. Because then you get freaking bucking and jucking fools like this nigga on this platform. Speaking for you. And half y'all niggas that probably watch this video or watch any of my videos don't know who the fuck this nigga is. I don't know who this nigga is. But yet he thinks he get to just go out there and speak on behalf of all black people. Let me rewind it a little bit.
and I appreciate you being honest in defining of what it's like to be Black American, right?
What it's like to be Black American. So, again, let's break down what Ben said. Ben said that inherently capitalism is racist, that schools, anywhere where quote-unquote white people do better than black people statistically, that is racist. So you're saying, brother, that no matter what, we're always behind the 8 ball and there's nothing that we can do to move ahead. Interesting.
That is, I mean, we're talking about a system.
That's not fair.
No, I'm just saying I agree with all of those suppositions because they are grounded in truth. Look, and the funny thing is, it's not just African Americans. Right? It's also the Scalp Act of 1749, where for $300 modern dollars, you had to cut off the head or the hair of an Indian to prove that you got them out of the way so they could settle. That's a little bit of American history that people should know about. The Chinese Exclusion Acts of the 1840. These are things we don't talk about.
Well, I agree that those are things that most people don't know about, but you have to understand something. And when I'm not talking directly to you, Mr. Malcolm Nance, I'm speaking to all the listeners of this channel. They're not hidden. And you don't have to go back to school to learn. Whatever you're using to listen to me right now, you can use that same apparatus, that same device to go and search up whatever the hell you want to search up. But you have to have that inquisitive bug in you. Which means when you click on one link and you're reading through, and then you see something else, you click on that link and then you're reading through, and then you see something else, and so on and so forth. Like, for instance, on my phone, I have over 20 tabs open. Over 20 tabs. Oh, easily. And want to know how that happens? Something crosses my mind, or someone says something, so I look it up. As I'm looking it up, then I see something else, open new link and new tab, boom, and just keep going. Just keep going. And then, do I get to read them all at the same time that day? No, of course not. Hell no, I don't. I'd be lying if I said that I did. But I do eventually get to them. I'll go on my phone and I'll go, okay, hey, this is this. Okay, and then I get that information out. That's it. But I'm inquisitive to that. I want to know more, and I don't just stop with finding out the one thing I sought after. Like, okay, I want to know about this. Okay, now I got that. Now I stop. No, I keep going. So if that's not naturally in you, then all right, then maybe you're gonna need someone or have to go somewhere and have them just funnel you information, and that's fine. Not everyone has that inquisitive bug like I do. But again, That does not mean that the information is not out there, okay, and that you cannot acquire it. Not everything is freaking top secret. So we have to do a better job of wanting to know these things and then finding them out, and not just saying, oh well, we don't know and they're hiding it. No, there's a huge difference between ignorance and something being hidden from you. You know what I mean? If you're ignorant to the facts, that's on you. Now, if someone's hiding something from you, that's not on you. How the hell can you know something that's being hidden from you? But these things aren't being hidden. That's the issue, and that's, again, why you cannot call yourself a fucking victim. This is why we, quote unquote, black people cannot call themselves victims, because there's way too much power granted to you now. Want to know why? Because they said it all the time when I was a kid growing up. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So at the end of the day, if quote unquote black people don't have any power, why is that? Because they lack knowledge. Doesn't mean that, there aren't individuals with knowledge. It just means that the collective does not have enough knowledge. If the collective had enough knowledge, the collective would do better. When you know better, you do better. These are all simple things. And I'm not just saying this to freaking, sound good, sound smooth and shit like that. No, I'm saying it because these are facts. This is the reality of it. These quips that are said ad infinitum are said because there's truth in it. There's truth in it. You can't just laugh it all out. Knowledge is power. I heard that shit 1,000 times. Nigga, hear it 1,000 more the fucking time. We have to all, as a collective, gain more knowledge. And in doing so, we'll gain more power.
I mean, first of all, it's not true that people don't talk about these things. We all did learn about...
You don't want them talked about?
No, that's not true either.
You want to cancel
No,
them?
Malcolm, I'm sorry, you're lying.
That's
lying.
That's
just
not
that
lying.
it is lying.
Yeah, Malcolm, it is lying, because I literally just went through that. It's not hidden. So you're lying and saying that people don't want you to know that stuff. Now, are there things out there that people don't want you to know? Yes, for damn sure. They don't want you to know that the original Europeans were quote unquote black. They don't want you to know that quote unquote William Shakespeare was a quote unquote black man. They don't want you to know a lot. But you read it and you find it out. And then you obviously, once you don't just read one thing. For those of you out there that's like taking notes and saying, I'm gonna do this. Look, you don't just read one thing. All right. I wish it were that easy, but it's not. You got to read multiple things on one thing to get the greater understanding and the greater knowledge. All right? Like, for instance, if someone came up to you and told you a story of what happened, you can't just take that as like the say all, end all, be all. Like, no. You have to find the other people that were involved or other people that witnessed what happened and then get their pieces, and then you can formulate what actually happened in your mind. And that's the same thing that happens with the information that I'm talking about. When you receive it, when you read it, when you hear it, you got to take them all, put them together and say, okay. And then, it's like putting a puzzle together. So I know I just went off a little bit, but that's how you do it. All right. For those of you that are out there that are interested in learning more and coming into greater understanding and knowledge, that's how you do it, all right? It doesn't just fall out of a book into your lap and just, hey, one piece, that's it. Okay, now I'm good, moving on. No, that's not how it works, unfortunately. So you do have to be willing to put the time in to understand that and understand that you're going to have to get all the different perspectives.
I've personally
and historical context.
Talked about many of the things that you just mentioned. I define critical race theory by citing the...
Look at this guy. He's just on the panel just fucking laughing and looking. That's an Uncle Tom. That's a chucking and jiving nigga. Like, bro, first of why are you on this panel? And then you're not even being serious. You're not being serious. You're out here trying to defend critical race theory from the standpoint of that's the black people's reality. Let me tell you something, bro. No, it's not, number one. And number two, that is the issue. Well, not the issue, but that's one of the biggest issues that we have as a group. Critical race theory. I didn't even know it was a thing until recently, and it's really not a thing. But if we allow it to be a thing, it's going to hurt. Because all it is further victimization mentality. All it is further leading you down the path of destruction. All it is leading you right to socialism. All it is leading you through to order through chaos. All it is leading you to Luciferianism. That's all it's doing.
Authors of critical race theory, and you seem to be a pretty good beneficiary of the meritocracy because you have merit, Malcolm. So if you're going to criticize the meritocracy as an outgrowth of white supremacy, then you're going to have to tear down the system that you've succeeded in because you have merit. Or do not have merit.
Very interesting point. Let me rewind it a little bit just so we can get the full context and what's he saying that.
Personally talk about many of the things that you just mentioned. I define critical race theory by citing the actual authors of critical race theory, and you seem to be a pretty good beneficiary of the meritocracy because you have merit, Malcolm. So if you're going to criticize the meritocracy as an outgrowth of white supremacy, then you're going to have to tear down the system that you've succeeded in because you have merit, or do not have merit.
That's a great point. And what Ben is saying, for those of you that don't understand, is that you complain about how, everything's racist, and the system is meant to keep you down, but yet you're here on this panel with me. So if you're going to tear it down, you realize that you're going to tear down what allowed you to get to where you're at. That's pretty much what he's saying. And if it's so broken, then how are you here?
My great-great-grandfather ran away from slavery to join the 111th U.S. Colored Troops and fight against the South, keeping human beings as slaves. He didn't think, you know what, in 150 years, my great-great-grandson's going to have to sit on stage and argue with a guy who thinks all that's bullshit. All right?
What? See, look, this is this is liberal Negro splaining right here. That's what the fuck this is. What, nigga? What? Bro, hold on. This man just asked you, because you're the one talking about breaking down the systems and everything's inherently racist. He asked you to explain why aren't you, like, if it's so racist and everything, then how the hell are you here doing what you're doing? And you want to talk about your great-great-grandfather fighting in the Civil War. If that's true, I don't know. It might be true, I don't know. If your grandfather did or not. Talking about that and then what your grandfather would think of 150 years later. What that got to do with one another, bro? That's Negro explaining. You just wanted to bring up some racism to try to, shift the light of the conversation. That's why look at Ben's face. Ben's like, what in the hell is this nigga talking about? This fucking Negro. He's looking like Ben looking like this nigga just hit me with the okie doke. Huh? Like what? Yo, look, brothers, please don't do what that guy just did. Don't be like that guy. All right. If someone asks you a question, answer the question. You don't gotta go Negro explaining, trying to, change the narrative, bro. It's unnecessary. At the end of the day, this guy is talking so adamantly against the same system that he's doing well in. And that's what the Oprah Winfrey's, that's what the LeBron Jameses, that's what the celebrities do. They wake up in their posh estates, they roll out of their fucking double king size bed, and I'm not hating on these people at all. I'm just painting the fucking picture. They get driven around town by their chauffeurs. They wake up to eat gourmet breakfast and meals prepared for them by their personal chefs and dietitians. And then they get on TV and tell you how hard it is to be black and that, they keeping you down. You can't make it. They never tell you how the hell they got to where they at. It's like a secret club. It's like that club where it's like, you don't want people to know it's a club, because if they know it's a club, then they're going to want to get in. So you got to make it look like it's all bad and all negative. That way, they don't want to come in. And the less people that you have come in, the better for you, because then you get more of all the good stuff, right? That's the same rules that apply here. These niggas get on TV and tell you all fucking day and night how fucking impossible it is for you to fucking achieve anything. Pretty much it's telling you to fucking quit and become another statistic. And then they go home to their big ass house and sleep well. Yeah, that don't make no fucking sense, do it? But that's the reality. That's the truth that a lot of people are swallowing. Is that the truth? No, but they allow it to be their truth. And If you ever heard anyone say, "Oh, well, that's my truth," I'm speaking my truth. That's where that comes from. We got all these people thinking that they have their truths and shit. Like, no. There's only one real truth, okay, and that's the fucking truth.
I'm just saying, there is no controversy. The controversy that's made up is people saying that this is being discussed, this is being taught in schools, and that kids should be kept away from it.
That's not true.
It's not even a real controversy.
Malcolm, the fifth largest school district in America, Clark County, just decided that they were going to lower standards with regard to testing because they wanted to alleviate disparities in outcomes. That is an outgrowth of critical race theory.
Can you draw a straight line to it?
Yes.
Really?
100%. Because when you say that the meritocracy is an outgrowth of white supremacy, and then you suggest that I'm somehow denying that slavery took place or that your great-great-great-grandfather was a hero because I'm saying that I want people tested when they are in school to see if they are good at school, then what you're purporting to push now is just nonsense. And it's sheer bullshit, Malcolm. It's just bullshit.
No, it's not, but I think it's also
a big leap. No, not really. It wasn't really a big leap. He said it himself. And he said that he agreed with how Ben described it. So now you don't agree. Exactly. Look, man, these niggas is they're jokes, bro. They're jokes. But this is what happens when we don't know who is out there speaking for us. He's speaking on behalf of you. You, and you. Why? Because you allow him to. You allow him to. And there's many others like him out there. Speaking on behalf of you. Don't know shit about you, but just want to say, another black person, statistic, I can speak about them like I want. Nah, man, I'm telling y'all, brothers, you cannot allow that. You must not allow that. You must not allow that. You owe it. You owe more to yourself. You have more value than that. All right? But this video is going on a little too long. And honestly, I don't know what else is going to be on this. I'll let it play for like 10, 20 more seconds, see what comes out of it. And then maybe I'll just cut it.
leap to say that he thought that was bullshit, because that's not what it is. I mean, are we talking about 2021? Or are we talking about 1861? Because
the point is, can we talk about 1861 and 2021?
Yes, we can. And
you just did.
I don't know who's against talking about history.
Well, I mean, I understand that they want to, in Texas, they're talking about removing references to the Ku Klux Klan. They're talking about removing. Well, I mean, come on.
That's Texas.
How can you watch Forrest Gump without even knowing who Nathan Bedford Forrest is? Right? I mean, these are people who are historical figures who did bad things. No one is actually saying we want to go back and erase everything and restart and talk to you about these things. Critical race theory is a subject because the Republican right has made it a subject. No real school organizations are mandating this for kids.
I hope every Democrat in America takes your perspective, and they will be shellacked at the polls. Roy Teixeira just wrote a piece, the emerging Democrat majority, Roy Teixeira.
All right, now they're getting into politics and political lines, which I guess was inevitable because this is the Bill Maher show. So with that being the case, y'all, look, this whole critical race theory is just some bullshit. It's just further victimizing, trying to get you to believe that you're a victim and everything is against you and shit like that. You have to understand something. The greatest thing about the country America that I live in and that most of my listeners live in is that your life is literally what you make it. Now, that is much easier said than understood, because unfortunately, a lot of people have blinders up. A lot of people have walls up that were put there by others. They put that in your mind. For instance, mine. I was blinded. I didn't understand because I was indoctrinated into believing that I was a victim and everything that I did, and I always got to look over my back and all that shit. But once you realize that that's not the case, and this life is what you make it, and if your life isn't all that in a bag of potato chips, then that means that you didn't make it that. Does that mean that you're a bad person? No. But it means that if you do still want that to be your life, hey, you're going to have to keep on grinding, keep on working. And then you can get it. Well, am I going to say that you will get it? No. Maybe you won't. But that's the point of being American. At least at the end of the day, you can sit there and say you fucking put your best foot forward and you gave it your all. You tried. And then, your kids and your family can look at you with pride and say, hey, he ain't get it, but he fucking stuck with it. He stuck with it. She showed us what true hard work and determination is, and that's something to be proud of. At the very end of the day, did he break the bank? Did he bring home millions? No. But at the end of the day, he kept the power on, food on the table, and he allowed us to have a nice, decent life. And therefore, we can go and chase after our dreams. It's real simple like that, man. Real simple like that. But anyway, I'm going to head out. Peace out.